Hey Tammy, it's me Irma. I am making you a video because I made you a gift. It's a junk journal. And that's what I've been doing for like the last 2 years. It's the craft that I'm into now. But anyways, you know what? This is going to be a long video because I'm going to talk about not every page, but what a junk journal is for and my process in what I did to decorate it. And of course, I took it all apart and I made you this is called a tassel, and it's held in there with a paper clip. So you can take it off, and there's little pom-poms on there. There's buttons. There's a charm hanging on here, a key with a heart, because you are just a special friend. And then some other buttons, just some fun stuff. There's a bow in here somewhere. Oh, there it is, a little bow bead. Anyways, that's a tassel. But I took this book apart and I had to make the spine bigger so that it would hold the signatures, which are all the pages. But anyways, I put you some daisies because it goes with the daisies in her hair. And it's called My Little Golden Book About God. And then I put some buttons here on the side and put a little bow. And then here's a bow, which keeps it closed. And you open it up. And the sash or ribbon that I used, I glued it going across, but then I added these little brads so that this didn't get pulled off, because I'm sure it would wear from opening and closing it. So I didn't want those to ever come unglued, so that's what I did. But this is a journaling card, and you can write in this. You can write on the pages. Girl, you can do whatever you want. So I just made you a little card. You can stick your own things in here. You might have special cards, you know. Maybe your mama gave you something and it's special and you want to put it in here. There's all kinds of pockets in here, so you can do whatever you want. So this is the beginning of the book, and I put some stenciling, and of course this belonged to a child. So there was some writing here from a library, I believe, or a school. So I try to cover it up, and then I just put some stenciling over that, kind of to camouflage it. And this is a flip out, so it's got some Velcro, so you can undo that and it opens up and you can write there if you want to. And then this pops up and you can write in there, and that just slides in under that flower. And the original spine, of course, was the little golden foil part of the book, so I wanted to keep some of that. So that's what I did. Here is a pocket, and I made you a tag, and you can journal on this. And of course, this is supposed to be like a mirror, and then the daisies look like the daisies in her hair, so that is why I used that. And then of course you can put other papers that you want in there. And then this is just a little note called stack of notes. So you can write on there. You want to write a special date or something like that. And then this is a little flip out. And I wanted to keep this paper because of the flowers here reminded me of the flowers going up that trellis. So that's why I used that there. And then this is called a digital. I downloaded it from the group I'm in. And this was one of her digitals. So I printed it out and made a page out of it. And of course, You Love Hummingbirds is why I used that. So there's other hummingbirds in throughout the book. And then I printed on a doily and I glued it down on that page. And then I put some floral paper in there, cardstock, and then this little card, and I made a little pocket with this border. And then you flip that page and there's another pocket. Oh, and I sewed down that pocket. Some are sewed, some are glued. And then here's another journaling card. And then here's a little tiny paper clip, and I just put you some papers, pretty papers in there. And then there's that pretty paper again. Looks like old wallpaper, but it's just regular paper. I don't know if I have wallpaper in here, but here's the continuation of the story. And then I made a copy of this page, and then I cut out the little flowers there, and then I glued it down so you can pop it open, and I whited out the original writing on the book. So if you wanted to write something, you can, or you can put a picture in there if you want. And then I glued in a little half of a daisy. I glued that on there so it would hold that. And then here's this page, and this is a card that I thrifted. And here's another pocket, and then just something pretty with flowers that kind of match. So that's why I used that. So you can write on the back if you'd like. And then I put it there just to hold it. And then this other page, some index cards, and then another part of that, I think it's called a border teachers put in their classroom. And then some index cards. I thought the colors match, so that's why I used those. Okay, and then just another page. This is another part of Julie's digital. And I just glued some journaling paper on there, and I might put a butterfly. And then here's a little pocket, so you can put something in there. So here's her digital. And I put a piece of a napkin there, a hummingbird, and then I just glued that on there and made you a side pocket. And then this is a tag, so you can write on that. And then I just put you a piece of stationery in there, so you can write on that. And here's paper. I printed on that paper. This is one of Julie's digitals. And then this is just a tag. When I put you another little charm on there. And this is the other half of that card that I cut with the chairs on it. So you can write on there if you'd like. And it goes in there. Let's see. That's the other side of the paper. It is so pretty. I love that paper. And then I put you another piece of stationery. And then this is wrapping paper that I thrifted. And I made this little card you can write in here. When I put the wrapping paper in, the hummingbird was upside down, so I glued that on top of there. And then here's this book that I got at the thrift store about hummingbirds. I thought you would like to read that. It's got some neat stuff in there. It's for kids, but you know what? It's got hummingbirds. And then here's Julie's digital. I printed that out, and you can write on the back. And I put that there, and you can stick other stuff in there. And then I put some napkin down on this old paper for you. And then you can write on there if you'd like. That napkin is so pretty. Here's that wrapping paper. So, with hummingbirds, I loved it when I found it because it was like, oh, wow, perfect. God did that. And then here's a recipe card. It says, make yourself at home. Clean my kitchen. I love that. And then I just printed out this little girl and put it on this lined paper. And then this is one of Julie's digitals. I cut slits in it to separate them. Just thought it would be fun to do. And then just some paper in here. And then here's a page out of the book. And I had a little ladybug, so I glued it onto the page. Another one of Julie's Digitals, and then I just put a little West Virginia piece of a notepad in there. And then, well, I have these, because it had these in the center of them, and I popped them out. So I didn't just want to throw these little frames away because they're really cute, and then you can do fun stuff with them. So I just glued it around them just because, because I was crafty, I guess. And then I did it on this one too. And then one of the inserts from one of those, I glued that here on this corner. So it makes a side tuck. And then I just have a digital that I printed on, and I coffee stained it. That's why it looks all grungy and smeared and stuff. And then this is Julie's Digital and some more note paper. And here's the other half of that one. That is so pretty. I love it. And then there's just the other half of that little girl. A little tiny piece of lace. And then here's more of the story of the book. And then this is just, remember we used to, I don't know, well, I don't think I ever got one in the mail, but I used to see these back in the 70s. And you just put a stamp there. I like those. I found that at a thrift store. And then just one of Julie's Digitals I printed out. And I printed some children's writing paper behind it, so you can write on if you want. And then I made a little side tuck off of a piece of a scarf that I cut and glued onto a piece of paper to make that little side tuck. And then here's an envelope I made out of a handkerchief, and it has a bunch of layers, so you can stick things in all these little layers. And you can see all these little layers. So I put some here's a scripture. And in this layer, some hummingbirds. And you can write on those. And then another layer. And there's another little card in there you can write on. And then a little piece of pink note paper. I put a little butterfly and a flower. And have that tucked in there, a bunch of layers. And then this is a hidden journaling card, and I made that paper clip really fancy. So, but this slides out, this little picture, and you can write on the back of that. I just stuck it in here because unless you put it on really thick paper, you know, it might rip the other pages. So I just tuck it in here. And another pocket. I love this ice cream paper. And this is Julie's Digital. And again, you can write on that. You can cut it up. You can do whatever you want, girl. And then I love this picture. And I found a little girl's pink gingham dress at the thrift store, and I knew I was going to cut it up. The ladies, when I was paying for it, they were saying, "Oh, that dress is so cute." I said, "I know, but I'm going to cut it up because I make junk journals, and I'm going to use it to craft with." And then I used gingham washi tape down the center of this page. So, anyways, I made you a little tag, or what is that called? No, I can't remember what it's called. But anyways. And then here's one of Julie's Digitals again. And I put this border trim on there. And then a little bird in a birdhouse. And then some more. I printed this out on ledger paper. And it's about hummingbirds. And then I printed out some more hummingbirds on writing paper. And then here's this little boy. He's cute. And then I made one of those paper clips, and I put a piece of, I don't know, like lace trim. And I had some brown thread that I got it all knotted up and made it look like a nest, and I sewed some beads in there. And now I put it, this paper's kind of thick, so I put that behind it to protect the paper, or it would, you know, be really flimsy because it's heavy. And of course, the bird, the nest goes with this nest. That's why I put it on that page. And then I made a little fabric pocket for you with stickers. You can put these on another page or just leave them in the pocket like I put them in here. And then the other side of that, it's a pocket. So some more like stationery paper. And then paper clip. I put some of that trim on there because of course this is purple, so it goes with it. So, and then here's some music sheet, and I put some hummingbird napkins on it. And then this is supposed to be a shaker card. You're supposed to be able to shake it, but I forgot that I didn't want to sew it into the book, and then I accidentally sewed it into the book, so you can't shake it. But anyways, it's still pretty. And then I sewed some of that netting on the flap of the envelope, and I cut a slit in it so you can get this little envelope out. And it has this little bird in the nest. And then you can just tuck it right in there. It's really easy to get in and out. And then I put this cute card in there for you. That's another one of Julie's digitals, and you can write on that if you'd like. I'm not a good journaler, so I don't necessarily journal in my books. I'm trying to do better. But anyways, I really just like to look at them. I like to make the books pretty, and then I like to look at them. And here's the other side of that music sheet that I put in there with the hummingbird napkin on there. And then this is another of Julie's digitals. And then I cut out some of her prints and glued them on there. And then here's the seed packet. What are these? Zinnias. And they might still grow. They're from 1999. So, and then here's this, looks like a postcard. So anyways, oh, my allergies are bothering me. I probably sound nasally. Okay. And then here's a original book page, and then another one of Julie's digitals. And then I splattered on her digital to make it look grungy. That's what we call it, grungy. And then ledger paper, the other half of that, and it has hummingbirds on there. And then this flips out, so you can write on there or glue your own pictures in there if you'd like. That is so pretty. And then I used lace trim and glued that page on there because of it matched the blue in that bird, so that's why I used that. And then I put some trim on this page because it matched her apron so well. And then it matches this page too. And then here's some more of that ice cream page. And I put you another one of those recipe cards in there. And then here's an, it's about, this gives you scripture. I forget what this is called. But, anyways, a devotional card. So I put those in there for you. And then this is a magnet, but I glued it on there. You can pop it off if you want, put it on your fridge, but of course it went with the page. That's why I put that on there. And then I put you a couple recipes. I saw this one, and of course, you know the purple cow in Morgantown. So that is actually a drink. Ice cream drink, and of course I put that on there because it's on the ice cream page. And then this is one of Julie's digitals, the yo-yos, and I put another ice cream recipe on there, and this is called a belly band. So you just slide your card, or you can put a picture in there. That's that. And then this is the other part of the sash where, you close the book. And I slid this recipe card in there for you. You can write a recipe from your mama or your grandma. And I put you a West Virginia little note sticker on there. And then I did the same thing on this side. I didn't want it to come apart, so I put, I didn't put brads on this one, but I tied it up with some string so it wouldn't come apart. And I put you some daisy trim, and that is your book. So I will put this in the mail to you, and you will have the book before I send you the link to this video. So I'll just stick this. I'm going to stick it in between the signatures. This is one signature. I put 2 signatures in your book. So these are 2 signatures. Oh no, I did 3. I did 3 signatures. Oh gosh. So anyways, I'm putting this hummingbird book in between this signature here, the first and second signature. And then you just tie it in a bow to keep it closed. I love this color. I hope you like it. I know you will. You tend to like all my crafts that I make for you, but I love making these junk journals. So there you go, Tammy. This is your book. I hope to see you soon when I come to Morgantown. I love you. Say hi to Bobby. Bye.